Hi, I am Michael Jude T. Casalhay, a Doctor of Communication student at the University of the Philippines Open University. I will be presenting to you today the communication research approach which I used in my research I presented in this colloquium. Grounded theory. The purpose of grounded theory, according to Glaser and Strauss in 1976, is to produce or discover a theory. The definition of grounded theory, according to its proponents, is the finding of theory from evidence systematically gathered from social research. When should we apply grounded theory? It is important to remember that the methodology's main goal is to identify fundamental social processes. In areas where there hasn't been much investigation into the contextual aspects that influence individual lives, it is suitable for examining essential social interactions and group behavior, according to Krug in 2001. In 1978, Glaser stressed the importance of this technique, emphasizing that it is used to get through and beyond supposition and preconception to exactly identify the underlying processes of what is going on so that professionals can intervene with confidence to help resolve the participants' core issues. The history of grounded theory. Sociologists Glaser and Strauss created grounded theory at the University of California, San Francisco's School of Nursing. In 1969, Blummer emphasized that it is inspired by symbolic interactionism, highlighting the fact that people act towards things based on the meanings they associate with them. The significance of such things derives from and develops out of one's interactions with others in society. When a person is interacting with something, he or she uses an interpretative process to deal with these meanings and modify them. In the 1960s, new approaches to analyzing the social environment replaced natural science as the basis of social research. This comprised Denzin and Lincoln's modernist movement, which concentrated on realist ontology, epistemology, objective facts, generalizable, testable, and verifiable theory, as well as the relationship between the researched and the researcher, leading to the finding of theory. Grounded theory has come under fire for its objectivist and positivist roots as social science moves toward postmodernism and post-structuralism. Later works by Glaser and Strauss adopt the vocabulary of interpretivism. Development of grounded theory. There are probably just as many different grounded theory interpretations as there were grounded theorists, according to Day in 1992. In the 1980s, Glaser and Strauss disagreed over the fundamentals of qualitative research, which Strauss and Corbin developed in 1990. In 1992, Glaser argued that this did not deepen our grasp of grounded theory, but rather that we had progressed to another approach entirely, the whole conceptual description. While the 1998 second edition was less prescriptive and did not immediately address Glaser's objections, it is unclear, according to Melia in 1996, if these two schools of thought are genuinely distinct from one another, or if they are simply using different words to represent the same concept. Constructivist grounded theory. Using a constructivist grounded theory approach, according to Sharmaz in 2000, the researcher can advance the use of grounded theory methods into the field of interpretive social science in line with a Blumerian emphasis on meaning without making the assumption that there is a one-dimensional external reality. Then, this theoretical viewpoint could be able to respond to some of the objections raised against modernism grounded theory. A constructivist grounded theory develops from the interaction between the researcher and participants, just like in other constructivist techniques, with the researcher's perspective playing a role in the process. The features of grounded theory. All grounded theories, according to Sharma in 1995, share a number of characteristics, including the simultaneous collection and analysis of data, the development of analytical codes and categories based on data rather than pre-existing conceptualizations, theoretical sensitivity, the discovery of fundamental social processes in the data, the inductive construction of abstract categories, the use of theoretical sampling to refine categories, the writing of analytical memos as the stage in between coding and writing, and the integrative approach. Doing grounded theory? In contrast to many other qualitative methods, we know roughly how to begin the research by defining the area of interest, avoiding theoretical preconceptions and using theoretical sensitivity. How to conduct it through analytical procedures and sampling strategies, and how to end it once theoretical saturation is reached, that is according to Day in 1999. Data collection methods. Everything is data for grounded theory. In-depth interviews are most frequently employed while gathering data. Questions that rely on open-ended prompts can be changed to reflect new theories. While conducting the interviews, observational techniques may also be used. Data collection techniques can also include focus groups. Interviews. It would be beneficial for the researcher to begin the interview process with a topic guide that takes broad questions into consideration, prompts, and probes. Concurrent data collection and analysis include creating categories and theoretical elements as well as focusing on topics of interest and importance to participants. It is necessary to inform the researcher that his topic guide may alter. Theoretical sensitivity. By immersing oneself in the data and attempting to comprehend what the participants perceive as being relevant and vital, researchers might develop theoretical sensitivity. The researcher can develop theoretical sensitivity to the data by collecting and analyzing data at the same time. The researcher should start with as few preconceived notions as possible. The construction of categories can also be influenced by existing literature and theory, as well as the researcher's prior knowledge and experience. But the categories should not be forced to suit the literature or be utilized to generate new categories. The role of literature review. The researcher should start with the fewest preset notions, especially hypotheses, in order to be as sensitive to the data as feasible. This is known as theoretical sensitivity. Contrary to popular belief, this does not need the researcher to start from scratch. An open mind, not an empty skull, was what Day recommended in 1999. The key is how prior knowledge is applied. It should be used to guide rather than inform or investigation. In 1992, Glaser underlined the importance of using literature as data and regularly comparing it to new categories in order to incorporate it into the theory. Theoretical sampling. Theoretical sampling, according to Glaser and Strauss in 1967, is a method of data gathering for theory generation in which the analyst gathers, codes, and analyzes his data together with others, then chooses what data to gather next and where to find it in order to create a theory as it develops. In 1990, Sharma made the argument that theoretical sampling is most effective when some fundamental ideas have been uncovered. To start forming conceptions, first data is gathered from a relatively random set of individuals who have encountered the event under research. Afterwards, more data are produced via theoretical sampling in order to support or contradict the first categories. Analysis. Successful theoretical sampling requires concurrent data collection and analysis. The ongoing analysis expressly aims to establish a theory and guides the path of the upcoming interview or series of interviews. Line by line, open coding, also known as substantive coding, and theoretical coding were both recognized as two-step coding processes in data analysis by Glaser and Sharmaz in 1978 and 1995 respectively. According to Glaser, theoretical coding conceptualizes potential relationships between the substantive codes as a hypothesis to be included in a theory. In 1990, Strauss and Corbin asserted that coding might be open, agial, or selective. Open coding is the method for developing early notions based on data. The coding paradigm of agial coding is the creation and connecting of concepts into conceptual families. Moreover, selective coding formalizes these connections within theoretical frameworks. In 1978, Glaser asserted that codes might be kept active by employing the constant comparative approach and by posing the following inquiries. What exactly is going on here? Under what circumstances does this occur? What is the subject of this data study? And what type of occurrence does this represent? Data analysis, memo writing. The codes and categories contribute to the analysis in certain ways, but the study is not finished until it has been completely documented. The stage in between coding and the first draft of your finished study is memo writing. Although these were first analytical concepts that may change as thinking changed, they should not be seen as complete and fixed and were instead documented during the analysis. Returning to the field to verify some of the inferences made in the memo is always beneficial. The evolution of theory is documented by memo writing or memoing, much like an audit trail. The development of the core category. The generation of theory revolves around a core category, as highlighted by Glaser in 1978, underscoring the significance of the core category for grounded theory. An attempt at grounded theory will lose its usefulness and relevancy without a fundamental category. The majority of the data fluctuation is accounted for by the core category. Therefore, most other categories relate to it in some way. Although the core category is more heavily abstracted, it still needs to be rooted in the data. The major categories explain how the core category functions in the lives of participants and are tied to the core category. It is not really clear how it develops. Saturation of concepts. The data collecting and analysis cycle can end when concepts have reached theoretical saturation. In 1976, Glaser and Strauss defined saturation as the absence of new information that would allow a sociologist to further develop the characteristics of the category. It does not imply the complete development of a category rather than the depletion of data sources, which they label sufficiency rather than saturation. How can you tell when a theory has achieved theoretical saturation? It is at this point when fresh concepts, fresh information, or a re-examination of existing information may present themselves. Practical considerations such as time and funding frequently dictate research. The unpredictable nature of new theoretical advancements being discovered will be to some extent limited by theoretical narrowing during data collection, employing theoretical sampling and sensitivity, with all attributes of category being studied.